Another one of my favorite books is called Cowboy Cal. It was written by a student that I taught in 1972 and have remained friends with. His name's Jim Kraft. I hope you enjoy this one. Cowboy Cal. By the way, this has been dedicated to all the Nephiles, great and small. Happy readings. Unless your head's been stuck down in a prairie dog hole, you've probably heard about Cowboy Cal, the world's greatest kid cowboy. And you probably heard about Buster, Cal's fabulous horse. But if you haven't heard, then it's time you did. One day, Cowboy Cal and Buster were out riding the range. They trotted for miles under the broad blue sky, while Cal sang his favorite cowboy song over and over. Buster rolled his eyes, which is his way of saying, Another book that I enjoy reading is a book called Cowboy Cal. It was written by a student that I taught back in the early 70s. His name is Jim Kraft. And in fact, he dedicated this particular book here. Special dedication to all of us Nephiles, great and small. Happy reading. Unless your head's been stuck down in a prairie hole, you probably heard about Cowboy Cal, the world's greatest kid cowboy. And you probably heard about Buster, Cal's fabulous horse. But if you haven't heard, well, it's time you did. One day, Cowboy Cal and Buster were out riding the range. They trotted for miles under the broad blue sky, while Cal sang his favorite cowboy song over and over. Well, Buster rolled his eyes, which is his way of saying, if I hear that song one more time, I'm going to go loco. Outside a little prairie town, Cal saw some children playing baseball. Yee-haw, said Cal. That's more fun than wrestling a rattlesnake. I think I'll join in. Added Buster, which is a horse's way of saying, you hit the baseball, I'll hit the lemonade stand. Naturally, Cal was a great baseball player, as he was a cowboy. He ran the bases faster than a jackrabbit, assuming jackrabbits know how to run the bases, which has never really been proven. Cal was so good with his lariat, he didn't need a glove. He could rope the highest fly right out of the sky. The score was tied in the bottom of the ninth, and Cal was coming up to bat. Suddenly, swirling and curling over the western mountaintops came the biggest, angriest thundercloud anyone had ever seen. Now we'll never finish our game, some of the children wailed. Others trembled at the lightning and thunder. Cowboy Cal turned to his horse. Buster, we got to do something. Buster nodded, which meant, right, I'll race you to the storm cellar. Cal vaulted onto the saddle and grabbed the reins. Head straight for that thundercloud, Buster. Buster stared at Cal as if to say, Cal, old pal, you are the best and bravest kid cowboy in the world, but have you completely lost your marbles? Despite Buster's doubts, Horse and rider were soon streaking across the stormy plain. "Faster, Buster, faster," urged Cal. "Race for the top of the tallest mountain." Up the side of the mountain they roared. By the time they reached the peak, Cal and Buster were no more than a blur. And then, suddenly, they were airborne. Buster was so surprised he was speechless. They rose like a rainbow soaring toward the storm cloud, which cracked furiously and fired a blast of hail. Cal ignored the ice balls. Swinging his lariat, he twirled a loop around his head. "Easy as roping catfish," he said, and he let the rope fly. The rope snagged the whipping tail of the storm cloud. With a yank, Cal pulled the loop tight. "Now for a nice soft landing," he said. Buster twitched his ears, which meant, "Nope, we're going to plummet to the earth like a meteor and make a great major splash." But the storm cloud acted like a hot air balloon. Cal and Buster floated gently to the ground. "I know just the place for this monster," Cal declared. Buster headed for the great gritty desert. It hadn't rained in the great gritty desert for 100 years. All the cacti were dying of thirst, and the lizards were eating dust soup. Cal and Buster dragged the storm to the middle of the desert. "Great gritty," said Cal. "You can say goodbye to the dirt and the dry." He jerked hard on the rope. The tail of the storm cloud tore away, and out poured a river of rainwater. The great gritty desert turned green. The cacti drank till their barrels were full. The Gila monsters paddled in the swimming pools. Buster himself took a long sip of water, though he would have preferred lemonade. With the storm subdued and the desert blooming, Cal and Buster returned to the prairie town. "Hooray for the heroes!" the children cried. Cowboy Cal tipped his hat while Buster signed. The game resumed, but unfortunately, Cowboy Cal struck out. That happens sometimes, even to the best. That night, Cal and Buster returned to the Double C Ranch. "Great job today," said Cal, tucking Buster into bed. "You're definitely the best horse in the West." Buster snorted, which meant, "I think I deserve breakfast in bed tomorrow. And by the way, you're pretty terrific yourself." Cal turned out the light, slid under the covers. He laid in the darkness, softly humming his favorite cowboy song, while Buster snored contentedly, which is a horse's way of saying, "The end."